All right, cool guys. Welcome to the Artist Journey podcast. I'm with my good friend here, Shannon. He goes by Hombre Plata. We met through social media a couple months ago, right? And we've just been connecting
Yeah,
with each
yeah.
other. And I just wanted you on the pod to share your story, bro. How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on. I've watched a few episodes. I've been following along with you and obviously your journey for as long as I've known you. So happy to come on and thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's nice to have friends on here because I mean the whole point of it is to share your story. And I always say this in the pod, the story is just as important as the music. So I hope this connects with a lot of people, and we'll see where it goes. Just to get
Yeah,
started,
absolutely.
I asked this, how'd you get your artist name? Because I remember asking you first time I met you, so I kind of wanted you to tell that story to people.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hombre Plata is a little bit of a lore. I guess real ones will know, obviously, by if you know me as a friend or you watch this podcast. But my last name's Silverman. Originally, I was going to go with metal, like METL. Didn't really like that much, so wanted something a little bit more, I don't know, exciting, and so I went with Hombre Plata.
I mean, it fits you well. I mean, there's always a good story to the artist name. You know what I mean?
You need
So
something. The lore is good, and the more we talk and the more you learn about House Minimal and my label, my logo, and my sound, I like to just overdo it on the lore. Things that people will never know unless they
uh,
ask, you
but
know?
it's important to you, you know?
It's important to me,
Yeah.
right? I always have these fantasies of like, oh, if you blow up, what are people going to say about you? And what are they going to say about your lore and all this kind of stuff? And I like having things that slide under the radar. Like, oh, did you know that his artist name is actually his last name? It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, see, it's all about make it as long as it's important to you, that's all that matters. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So kind of
Absolutely.
let's get started in like your journey. Like, how'd you get started in music, and like what brought you to where you are now? Like, what was the starting point? Where was the starting point?
Certainly. Let's see here. So music's always been a part of my life. Funny enough, I grew up playing two instruments. I started on the piano, learned how to read music on the piano, hated piano. Obviously, now as I make house music, I just kick myself like, bro, couldn't you have just learned some chords, man? Just a few chords and gotten the finger painting down. Um, and that was kind of my earliest stint with music. And then I don't know, I think it was like 2 or 3 years later, I used to fall asleep to classical music, and for some reason, the flute CD ended up in my CD player back in early 2000s, and I just got it in my head that I had to play the flute, and so I started flute lessons, and I played the flute for 7 years, man, up until high school. And I said, "It's enough of this. It's enough of this." So from second grade to ninth grade, playing the flute. That's where I did started learning a lot about like, improvisation, a little bit of music theory, again, scales, arpeggios, that sort of stuff. And um, outside of playing music myself, I developed an affinity first for classic rock. My dad was a big classic rock guy, early metal with like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin 2, hard rock. I found back again, I think I was traveling through New Mexico on a family trip. And my dad passed me his MP3 player, not an iPod, because, back before the iPod established dominance, we
Yeah,
had MP3 players
yeah.
that were vying for control of the market. And he passed me like this Rio MP3 player. And the only thing he said, you can't listen to Eminem because the lyrics are not okay for your age. You can listen to anything else. I obviously listen to Eminem, but that's besides the point. Uh, I found, I found Black Sabbath's Paranoid album and I listened to it nonstop. And when we stopped to get gas, my dad said, "Hey, who are you listening to back there?" And I said, "Oh, I found Black Sabbath." And the way his face just lit up when he
Mm,
realized that his son had stumbled upon his teenage favorite band,
yeah,
uh, it was something to behold. And then fast forward into middle school, anytime I got in the car, K Rock was on or 95.5 KLOS was on if you're in LA, staple. And he's like, "Who is this? Who is this? Who's playing this song right now? Who's playing this song?" And he just started quizzing me. And so classic rock turned into jazz with my grandparents, with more classical music with my grandparents. And then electronic music started to take hold around high school. That's when I first got into dubstep. This was like, I don't know, 2011. So
Is
things were starting to pop off. That golden age of EDM was starting. Me and my friends did, how do I make this so people will, we hung out in cars a lot listening to music.
mhm, yeah.
Um, we used to call it dubbing, where we would just sit in the car, eat in and out amongst other things, and just listen to dubstep on full blast and try to hear all the different layers of sound. Um, I had a little bit of a falling out with EDM around, probably middle of my university career. Just felt that it was like starting to become oversaturated and overplayed, and I just didn't really like the sound. That didn't really strike me as unique anymore, until, I don't know, after university, when I started finding myself in the underground scene in LA, going to like certified groover shows, going to midnight lover shows. And it was actually the year before my kid was born, so almost about a year and a half, 2 years ago, where I found myself seeing Desert Hearts for the first time at Midnight Lovers with my friends. And it was like really my first major underground show that I had been to, under the bridge. And I was blown away. I had never seen music like that. Again, I had,
Mm,
in university, I was going to see, Avicii back, RIP, or Alesso, big room EDM. I had at a stage venue, even though this was in Wisconsin, I had never been to like an outdoor venue with just very low production besides the speakers, where the music was the center. And I re fell in love with electronic music, tech house music, you name it. And then I saw Desert Hearts again a few months later, this time at Sound Nightclub. And through a series of revelations that I had watching this music, I said the famous words, I can do this. This is easy. I can do this. Um, Fast forward, narrator. In the end, it was not easy. But here we are today. I mean, a long winded way of saying just obsessed with music my whole life, only to find myself in Ableton as a 5 to 9 after work every day, just messing around with sound and getting some decks and DJing. And it just took a hold of me in
yeah,
a
the
way that
the bug bit you, man.
it bit me big time.
Yeah,
Before then, it
no,
was like, what do I do after work when I'm not with family? I'm just playing video games. And I was, again, standing on the floor of Sound Nightclub, watching Mikey Lyons rip it up, and said, I got to be doing something better than just, playing video games. And Ableton free trial started, and I got I got the FLX4, and it was all over from there, man. It was
yeah, no,
like,
it's crazy because a lot of people just like, growing up music is a big part of their life, you know? I mean, I started growing up listening to a lot of hip hop, and then
that's
in
right.
junior high it became like a lot of the like the punk rock emo bands, and then hip
Yep.
hop came back. I didn't start like listening to like EDM until like 2005, going to like
Yeah.
festivals. And I mean, like 20 years later, here I am making music.
And you started making hip hop, right? You started with beats
I
first, right?
started with beats because I wanted to be a hip hop producer. And I didn't start listening to house music until probably 2015, like 10 years ago, when I really knew what it was, when Dirty Bird was getting big. Remember, like the Claude
Oh,
Von
yeah.
Stroke when he started his label? And man, once the bug bit me to produce music just like you, it's just like, I could do this.
I
I'm
could
gonna
do
learn this.
this.
I'm gonna be on that stage one day, and then I'm gonna play my music, and then I'm gonna travel the world, and the big dream.
Yep. Big dreams, but they start small, right? I mean, my New Year's resolution last year was, I want to get my music on a label, and I want to play in front of not my friends. Well, I've played for people that aren't my friends, and my music is on my own label. I
Yeah,
didn't specify, it
and
had
we'll
to
get
be
to that
on,
in a little bit.
it had to be on someone else's label. It's just got to do it.
Yeah, I mean, but then you started producing about a year ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
funny.
like I know you're very brand new, and then like I feel like you dove deep into it, and you are putting in the work, my man. Like
Thank
you
you.
send me
I
a lot of
appreciate
music.
that.
I was like, wow, here's another one. This guy's just putting in work. You're just making tracks, and you got to just jump right into it. Number one, with anything, otherwise
Yeah.
you're just gonna wave it off until the time's run out, and time is everything. And
Yeah,
you were just making music, song after song after song.
dude,
You were getting your reps in, man. Your 10,000 hours are gonna come sooner than you think, and I can
that's
definitely see the improvement every track for sure.
I appreciate that, man, and that's again going back to that. We'll circle back to that night on the floor at Sound nightclub. It was just wow, 10,000 hours. Better start now.
Mhm.
I got home that night at like 5 a.m. and downloaded Ableton. 30-day trial, and that's where my free
Seriously,
trial album came from. I was like, I'm just gonna make songs. I'm gonna put it out. They're probably gonna suck, but that was it.
so it's literally like after that night at Sound where you're just listening to the music, you're like, "Man, I gotta learn how to make music. I gotta do
Yeah,
this." And you
yeah.
just went
And
home and
again,
downloaded
I
Ableton, and you're like, "Alright, let me figure it out."
yeah, I got to figure it out. I was literally just dragging loops, right? The Ableton stock loops. I didn't even have a MIDI controller. I was just drawing the notes, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds cool. That sounds cool." Didn't know a thing about EQ. Didn't know I was using EQ3 when I was making those songs. I didn't even know what EQ8 was. I was like, "This is too complicated. I don't need to use this." I didn't know what compression was. I didn't. I was. I'm pretty sure in order to get my song louder, I actually raised the master volume up to like 6, trying to get it loud because like it's not loud enough. I'm just gonna do this. So it was really flying by the seat of my pants, which is kind of what I do best.
But then, you said you were playing the flute. You did a little bit of piano. Like, because I used to I played guitar. Obviously, like you see guitars up there. And then, when I started learning production, I wanted to record playing guitar. But the whole like chord progressions, like scales, that really did help in the beginning of music production. It did help you a little bit also, right? Just like basic ideas of music theory, chords,
Yeah,
notes.
knowing what major is versus what minor is, knowing if I wanted like a happy song, it probably got to go in major. If I wanted a sad or weird song, maybe a little bit more minor. I knew that certain notes sounded better together in the form of like harmonies. I understood rhythm, right? I
Yeah.
understand what like 16th notes are and what swing is. Um, but yeah, that's it. It definitely helped. Um, establish a baseline for starting because I didn't have to learn what a note was. I didn't have to learn what beats were. I didn't have to learn any of that. I was like, okay, cool. I want a song that's in, you know, some key signature. Oh, there's no flats and sharps. Great. This is easy for me. Or, oh
Straight up
God,
A
this one's got
minor
a
or C
multiple
major.
flats. Maybe I'm not gonna write a song in, E flat minor. We're not gonna do that. I'm not
Mm.
comfortable with it.
Yeah, but that's why, like, even when I first started, I did a lot of C major or A minor, all the white notes.
Yep.
And especially that
Yep.
I started
Nice
like
and easy.
using a lot of MIDI, and all you gotta do is drag the whole thing into a different key signature, and then it's the same thing because the scale is gonna be major or half step, full step, half step, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think it's really you got to learn a little bit of basic music theory or just like know music because if you don't know any music and you just jump right into a DAW, it's so difficult, man.
Yeah. I mean, I can only speak to like my imagination, right? Because it wasn't me, but I think it would be a big challenge for someone with no musical experience to take up music production unless you have an incredible ear, right? It's just like
Mm.
one of those things. There was a Rick Rubin quote or that interview with Rick Rubin where they're like, "Do you have any technical experience?" He's like, "None, no experience. I have no idea what I do. I just know it sounds good and I know what I like." Right? Like, unless
Yeah,
you
I
have
think the
that
ear thing you build
incredible,
over time, but I think for Rick Rubin, he just loves music. I
yeah,
mean, he's worked on so many like Red Hot Chili Peppers, hip hop albums, Rihanna
yeah,
albums, like so many different kind of genres. Where I think just over time he's so good at it. He just has the best ear. Just like, oh, that sounds good. That's what you need.
yeah. If you have kind of like that savant like hearing where you can hear a note and then just you don't care, you're just gonna play the note on the piano till you find it, and then you remember that, you'll be good. But I think that's a very rare quality for people, unless you've grown up with music your whole life. Even if you haven't been playing it, right? You can still hear the difference of, Stairway to Heaven compared to Black Sabbath's Paranoid. You understand what's going on. That's different about these tracks. You don't need musical experience, but your ear has been subconsciously tuned to it.
Yeah, I think that just comes over time. But in the end, it's like I told you, like I said to you, music's a feeling as long as it vibes.
Yep.
Like, man, think about jazz. Like, jazz is all over the place.
Jazz is a whole vibe, man.
Yeah,
Jazz is a
but
whole
it's a
vibe.
vibe. Like, I can listen to jazz and just vibe. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just like, this sounds pretty cool, man. Like, I'll jam out to it. I'll jam
Oh
out to
yeah. Do you
anything.
have a favorite jazz artist or a favorite jazz record that stands out to you?
Oh, for me right now, that's the thing. I like all styles of music, but I don't really like hunt for it. Like, if I hear it, I'd be like, oh, this is good, And obviously, you'll know the genre.
Yeah.
But I never really put like playlists together, like jazz artists, like hip hop artists, stuff like that. I just when I listen to music, I'm just like, this vibes. I like it.
Mm,
So
that
let's
makes
talk
sense.
kind of about like what were your influences like in house music? Who are your artists that you kind of go to that? Because I know you're more minimal or you're kind of more underground. And then when you send me
I
a
would
lot of
say
music, I like
only
it's a
in the
lot of
sense that
artists I never heard before. So like, what kind of
yeah,
artists do you listen to?
I'd say like I'm underground in the sense that I'm trying not to make music that is extremely commercially accessible, right? Like
Mm,
I want to make music for me and for people that like my music or like a specific sound. And I just think to 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 hammer it home with the term underground, it's less about, oh, it's got to sound a certain way. It's more about the mentality of you're making music not for the goal of fame or fortune, right?
mm.
Because you could be an underground indie, like an underground folk musician, right? You can be an underground jazz musician. Underground doesn't assume that it has to be dance music, at least in my eyes. Let's see that one of the major influences for me. I don't make a ton of music like this, but I leverage a lot of snare drums that sound like it, or a lot of percussive processing that sounds like it. Is Demure. He is a tremendous producer and DJ. And he's one of the DJs that I saw. I call it my bachelor, and we may circle back into this again. But like right before my kid was born, I was like, I need to go see as inexpensive music as possible and as local as possible. That's where I found Certified Groovers, and I saw Demura there, and that was probably the best party I've ever been to. The way he mixes tracks, the way he makes tracks, the way he approaches music from a historical standpoint is just tremendous. So Demure is a major influence of mine. Getting more into like the minimal and like techie side of things. Um, I love indie dance music. Desert Hearts is great, but I really love three names in particular. I'm always chasing their sound. Coulter, love Coulter. I love Ranger Truco. I think he's got
I love that guy.
exceptional taste and great bounce. Um, and then Djibouti, who is just every song he puts out is different, but it still sounds like him, which is something that I find so unique. And the way he writes his chords and the remixes he makes, just they feel so good. I don't know how to describe it.
No, you said it right there. It just makes you feel good.
He did a Michael Jackson remix that was incredible. And he's done a few remixes. He did a Britney Spears Toxic remix. He's just he's so good, man. He is so good.
Yeah, and I like what you said, how a lot of these artists they're making music like dropping songs all the time, and they sound kind of different, but it's their sound. And I
Yeah,
always try to like think about that for myself, like, yeah, what's my sound? And I'm always making music also, but I don't. I try. It's like how are all these other artists like sounding so different, but themselves?
right, right. And I one particular song is a constant reference point for me, and it's Coulter's song "Alert in the Desert." Um, it's just it's so groovy and dusty, and he's got this little, I'm pretty sure it's like an old N64 emote or like an old N64 sound. Oh no, it's from Metal Gear Solid. It's like
Yeah.
a when you get detected, and he has that in the middle of the track. And every time I play this track out, everybody that's just like sitting at the bar or just bobbing their heads looks up and looks at the DJ booth like, what did you just do, dude? Like, I just love that. Just like, oh, you're all here. Good. Okay, we're all aware of what's happening
It's like
right now.
that ear
Something
catcher,
happened.
you know what I mean? That little
Yeah,
thing to catch your
definitely an ear
ear.
catcher. I've been trying to mess around with stuff like that. Like I've been reversing different hits, not just, your classic hat hit that gets reversed into a sound, but snares and vocal cuts and just trying new things to find something that's like indescribably Hombre Plata. Like, oh, that's a
Mm,
Plata song.
I
That
I
sounds like him.
I think that's very important where, you gotta sound different. Like, obviously, your own sound, but different. Because there's so many tracks
Yeah.
that, I watch, feedback streams and, like, they'll literally skip the songs, like, it sounds just like the last one, sounds just like the last one, like, to be different, it's so hard, but that's what makes you stand out,
Yeah.
and I
Absolutely. And
and I think that's
couldn't
really
agree more.
difficult, like, what are the most difficult things that you go through, and then, like, how you overcome it, like, in your music production that you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, the biggest struggle for me, and I think for any dance music producer, is the low end. It's
The
almost
kick and bass?
it's almost like mathematical how frustrating it is, to get low end sounding good on every single device, right? Like it's gonna sound different on your iPhone, your car, your bar system, your club system. Not that I'm playing on any club systems, but I want my songs to sound good on club systems. So really the low end. That's the biggest one for me. And I think the thing that it actually just clicked probably a week and a half ago, as I was finishing up the last album I'll put out this year, um, was crest factor and understanding that cutting certain if you're not cutting your track in terms of gain, right? You're gonna gain stage. You're gonna have your track gain. But before that sound enters your effects chain, if you're not bringing down either the gain or doing some sort of EQ before it hits your compressors, before it hits your EQ, anything, you're going to cause your final limiter on your master bus to overwork on certain, like processing the initial peaks of your sound. And so that's why, you might be getting a good low end, but your uppers and your highs start to sound chalky or smeary because your limiter is activating on every single kick hit. Um, and then I used to just kind of sidechain my kick to my bass, like, oh, let's just do this. I stopped doing that less and less, and I started using dynamic EQ more and more, specifically finding where is the kick peaking in my bass, and I need to cut that out on the strongest kick hits. Um, so dynamic EQ, managing crest factor. There's like one more sleeper that really it didn't take hold recently. I did this kind of on the first major album that I put out a few weeks ago, Thump Jazz, and then again on Rooftops. I've been doing my kicks in MIDI rather than using audio loops because
Mm.
I can actually customize the velocity of those hits, and you can actually get custom groove in your kick drum with nothing else there simply by changing up the velocity of your MIDI hits. Um, by doing that, those three things have really kind of taken my low end to what I would say the next level for my production. Is it amazing, perfect? No.
Hey,
Will it
but you
ever be? Probably not, but it's sounding more professional. Um, so that I think is like been the major piece for me,
yeah,
aside
man.
from just trying to sound different.
Yeah. I mean, once you figure out something, like throughout your whole journey, you'll figure out something better, But
Yeah.
you're gonna use what works now, and I think the biggest thing in just like what you're saying and all your productions, just fix it at the source. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like a lot of people when they're producing, they think I'll fix it in the mix or I'll fix it at the end of the master. I'm like, no, it's just gonna get worse. So you got to just
And I think
fix it at the source.
that's a really good lead into kind of my next mini hack for people that are just kind of getting started. I've seen it a few times. I'm not going to take credit for this statement, but like a band doesn't change its drum set every show. You don't need to change your kick drum every single song. And so what I've done is I've found like 5 or 6 kick drums that I love, that I have presets saved on how to process them, where I don't need to guess, oh, what do I need to do to mitigate the crest factor of plot to kick drum 5? I just push plot to kick drum 5 on my macros on my kick bus and boom, Now it's processed as I want it. Do I need to make tweaks? Obviously, but now I know that, okay, I know that this kick drum doesn't have crazy air pockets at the end that I'm gonna have to mitigate, or static, or weird clipping at the beginning that I'm gonna have to mitigate. So many kick drums are just booty. Just pick ones that sound good and reuse them, and that's how you start to define your sound.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like for me, I have like 10 different kick drums in my sampler. I'll just go through each one and see which one fits because obviously like every kick drum, the kick drum is so important. Like not there's no one that fits all, for sure
Right.
not.
Exactly.
But then if you have
Exactly.
like 10 different ones where you know like the tonality, the low end and how it feels, how it hits, and just go through all of them and see which one works. And of course you always have to adjust. Just,
Yeah.
oh, you're
Always.
adjusting every time.
And I've found, at least when I first started producing, I used to believe, okay, kick, bass, first things first. Let's get the core down. But as I've kind of matured as a producer, mature from absolute novice to somewhat less novice, um, realizing that the kick and the bass aren't the center point, they're the glue. So I'll start with chords, or I'll start with drums, or I'll start with just vocal chops. And I'll then go to my kicks and say, which kick fits? Is it this really beefy one? Or is it this more like dusty, muted one? And then I'm not just sitting there in my DAW messing around with my kick drum for 5 hours and I've got nothing to show for it. You know,
We all been there
instead I'm
before.
like, instead I'm hitting up Pauly Beats. Yo, man, check out this track I made today. Heads up, it's the initial fledgling state, man, but it's there.
Hey man, you can send me all the music. I'm always down to check out on new music and help you out if you need help or just
I
if
appreciate
you need me
that.
to tell you that it
Every
sucks, I'll tell you it sucks.
You do, but every critique you've given me, or every strategy you've given me, has greatly helped. For example, when we were working on a track that we aren't going to release, but was just fun to kind of begin
Yeah,
collaborating on, you showed me vocal throws,
dude, I use
and
them all the time. They're so
and
good.
since then it's become a staple. Not in the way that you showed me, with a slight variation. I still use the 1-2 delay you showed me. I don't like have the second track with the echo, but I have a 1-2 delay, and then I started throwing like a kick side chain in that return track. So now when I have the echoes, which I'll automate at the end of different phrases or whatever to fill up space, I'll sidechain it to like a ghost kick. So that way the echo starts pumping with the beat, which is starting to become, again, I would say,
Your
hallmark
signature
of my
sound.
sound.
That's gonna be your
You know,
signature
it's got
sound.
dusty
And
drums, dusty snares, echoes.
and also I kind of want to just go back. Like we're talking about like giving feedback. I learned this from school. Where a good way to just like giving feedback or asking for feedback is telling the person you're asking for feedback like what to look out for. Like, hey, Shannon, like I have this track. What do you think about the low end, the high end, and the vocals? Because if I
Yeah,
just send you a track, what do you think? And you're just like, sounds cool, man.
yeah.
You know what I
But
mean? So if
what do
anyone
you think
watching
about this
getting
entire
feedback, it's
track?
best to like let the person know, oh, like I'm having trouble with the low end, or I think the vocals are kind of like outshining, or it's too bright. Like, could you check
Yeah,
that for me? You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
when you
absolutely.
send people music, it's like they're just gonna listen to it as a whole and be like, "I don't know, man. It sounds a vibe.
Yeah,
The song's a vibe, but I think it
yeah.
sounds good."
I'm cool with that. I'm cool
Yeah.
with that. My favorite comment is no notes. This is dope. I love this. I'll play it out. As much as I want feedback of how can I make it better, if someone's like, I freaking love this, that's cool. Then I'm just like, okay, but like the kick drum is way too muted and the bass is super muddy and you can't even hear a
Yeah,
sub.
that's why you
So
gotta
I'm
ask
glad
them
you
like,
want to
"Oh,
play it
is
out,
the
but it's
kick and
not
bass
ready yet.
muddy? Could you like listen to that? Like, can you check that for me in the mix?" But
But I feel like that also takes an ear. Like it didn't hit until I started producing music, like what mud was. Like
mm,
I listened to my first album, and I to this day, no matter if I get big or not, again, it's a fantasy, but it is what it is. I to this day like never want to take off the first album I ever released on Spotify because it's just so bad that it's mine. Like, it's like,
eh,
my God, this riser is at zero gain. It is blowing my eardrums out. Let this be a lesson.
hey man, I have my music out that I put out what is like 3 years ago. I'm not gonna take it down. It's there, and I go
It's
back to it.
there.
I'm like, man, this is where I was, and this is how far it came. And I help people listen to it, be like, wow, like Polly improved, man. Hombre Plata, like I remember listening to his old stuff, and he got so much better. Like, you got to leave it up there, man.
Oh, it's necessary. I
Yeah,
mean, I would be lying if I said I'm not partially like remastering as I go along. Like if I find a song that I just want to hear again, I'll do like a lazy remaster. I'll just plop it into Ableton and I'll throw on an EQ and start little carves here and there. But one day I want to go through and actually take my tracks, either stem split them or just use like brick walls to divide up different parts of the spectrum and process them all differently. But I don't know. Part of me also just I like the history, man. I like going back and listening to Guantanamo Slay and being like, holy shit, this is so sick, but it's also so bad.
I think a cool way to do is like if you have an old track that you really love, and then maybe your skills weren't like up to par back then. What you can do is remix it, remix your own track, and just put it out as a new track. And I mean, you own the masters and everything to it, so
Good
I mean
idea.
that's one way to do it. Or if you really like a track, you can remaster it and just replace the file if you really wanted to.
Yeah. The the bummer part is all of my first songs that I ever made, I no longer have the original projects. So
Oh,
let it be a lesson to people to always save your stuff. Um, you might want to get all crazy with your organization, but just make sure you don't accidentally delete the the most important things that will help you rebuild a project if you want.
yeah, you gotta save your stems.
Oh my God.
Time machine, your Mac. You gotta. I would be so devastated if I lost all my stems, all my music that I have from like even from like 4 years ago when I first started. I think I put it in an external just to have. Who
Yeah.
knows if I'll ever open it, but at least it's there just in case I want to go back, even though it's like I don't know, gigs of files.
Yeah. It's just nice to have, it's yours.
Exactly, like you
It's
created
fully
it, like
yours.
you started somewhere with this, like you want to hold on to things. So,
Absolutely.
I kind of let's go into like your DJing because I know you started DJing also with the same year, or did you start
The
DJing first or
same
producing first?
the same week. I
Oh
got
wow.
Ableton. I'm in Ableton, and I was starting to joke about it when we first started. I was like, okay, so after work ends. How do I divide up my night to maximize? Okay, do I start with DJing? Do I move to production, or do I do production first and then go to DJing? So it kind of started at the same time. People are like, oh, you got to start this way, start this way. I've never been one to
There's
fall
no
in line with
rules.
what people say you should do.
There's no rules.
And to me, I felt that there's so many good DJs out there. There's so many good producers too. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
I'm not trying to say that that doesn't exist, but for me, where I knew I would be in life with a very young child, essentially a toddler, starting a family, building up a family, full time work, like it would be very challenging to break into the DJ scene in LA where there is just so much incredible talent. Um, so that's kind of why I started with production. I said, at least I can get my sound out there, even if nobody's listening. I can work on something that doesn't really require me to physically get out in front of
Mm,
people. With DJing, it's cool. You can put up mixes all day on SoundCloud, but until people start seeing you out and wanting to come see you, you don't really start to get that fandom. And at the same time, are you going to go see Hombre Plata, who's been DJing for a year? Or are you going to go see Fisher? Or are you going to go see Demure? Or are you going to go see, Jesus DePunk at Certified Groovers, who are just amazing selectors? No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't see me if I had to choose between me and Jesus DePunk. I'd go see Jesus DePunk. Like any of the DJs that I spin with at House Minimal, I would rather see them over me DJ. So I think
mm.
that's just kind of it's not just self-deprecating. It's more like there is so much good music out there. And if I'm DJing, I'm playing my music. The main reason I like to go see DJs is because I get to hear music that I would have never found.
But then I
But
like the way I think you're doing it right by doing the production first because I'm gonna just say this: DJing's a lot easier than producing music. The learning curve is ridiculous.
yeah, I would agree. And again, it's incredible the way people are able to move a floor and manipulate the decks and troubleshoot when things go wrong. Um, it's incredibly challenging to produce music in a way where, you know, a year and a half ago, Hombre Plata standing hammered out of his mind on the floor of Sound Nightclub, thinks, "Oh yeah, I can do this. Anybody can do this. Anyone can do it." It
Uh,
is not easy, man.
yeah,
It
I
is
mean,
not easy.
anyone can do it. It just takes a lot of work, a lot of
Yeah,
time, a lot of effort. But like building a brand as a producer, I know it's a lot harder, but I think it's more satisfaction because imagine like you build your fan base, you have albums out right now, you have all this music out, and then you start DJing, and I don't know, you throw a show, let's just say, and you got like maybe 100 people in the crowd that came to see you. Listen to your music. I think that feels so good. And just being, I
I
mean,
agree.
there's a lot of DJs out there that just DJ, for fun. Maybe they do it to pay the bills. They're at a bar gig or wedding DJs or whatever, and they're just playing other people's music. It's to DJ, to just straight DJ.
Yeah,
But the satisfaction of like playing your own music, it just feels so good, man. I'm like
dude,
my first gig, I played a couple of my tracks. I'm just like, this is awkward, but it feels really good.
it's a little scary and intimidating at first,
It is.
but there's nothing like looking out at a bunch of people dancing and they're dancing to your track.
Hmm.
Like, that is so freaking cool, man. I that it hasn't it never happened to me until about 2 weeks ago. I was, like, playing at a bar, um, and I played one of my songs off the album that's coming out in a week, Katana. The song's called Peekaboo, and I played it, and so a stranger came up to me and goes, "I really like this song. What is it?" And I like had to, I was like, "Be humble, be humble, be humble." Like, the song's called Peekaboo. Um, it's by Hombre Plata. Like, where can I get it? Like, I think it's on SoundCloud.
Mm. Wow, that must have been a great feeling.
Oh my god. And it was even maximized because I wrote Peekaboo like in an evening. And it just, the songs that get the most recognition are the ones that are the simplest. Like Peekaboo is so simple. Tension is so simple. Both of them off the Katana album. And then you listen to the song Katana, you're like, holy crap, dude. Like, what are you doing in this, man? Go back to your simple stuff.
The simplicity is always key. I
Yeah.
think I saw this, a Noises like Summer '91, that Piano House track. He did a breakdown about it like a couple days ago, and I was watching it. He's like, "This is my most simplest song that I've ever made, but it's my biggest hit." And
Hmm.
he's like, "Maybe there's something there. Simplicity is
Yeah.
key." And I was like, but as producers, we're always thinking, "Man, how could I make it bigger? How could I add more to it?" But like I say always too, to me, like music's a feeling, right? As long as it feels good. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be too complicated. As long as it feels good and it's
Absolutely.
simple. I think the more complicated it is, I think it makes people who listen to it like, "Oh, this is too much," you know? Like, I don't wanna
Yeah.
think too much. I don't wanna think, I just wanna vibe. So
Yeah.
simpler there is, they can just groove to it and just be happy with it, like, but
Absolutely.
it's hard, like, is this enough? Is it not enough? Do I add more? Do I add less? Like, what do you do? It's like producer problems.
Always add less. Always strip back. Always cut things back. But at the same time, again, you're a producer. Do whatever you want. Like
Yeah. I think do
one of
whatever
my
makes you happy.
one of my buddies, he's a great freaking producer. His name is Bluff, on Instagram, and he and I have always traded tracks back and forth. And until recently, his reviews to me were always, "Man, you have these really complex songs." And they're not, you got to mix them better. Once I unlocked the key, I was like, what does he mean? What does I mean? I sent him a song. He's like, dude, you got it. Like, you figured it out. What did you do? Repeat that. And I just started repeating that process. And I've always wanted to make these super complex songs that have all these layers because I'm polyphonic. I know most people that listen to music are polyphonic. I wouldn't say that. Many people who listen are polyphonic. Most people are not. But again, with me, as I mentioned, like, I'm big on lore. I want people to listen to my songs and hear, oh, I didn't hear that time, or oh, that's going on, right? How many people have heard like the little guitar riff that plays in Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger? Not many. There's a
Mhm.
little thing that happens in there, and I always found myself when I was at concerts turning to my friends, I go, "Do you hear that bass? That little bass hit that's like ba-dum,
They don't hear
ba-dum,
it.
ba-dum." They're like, "No, dude." Like, "It's so good. How do you
I
not
do
hear
that with
that?"
songs too. I'm like, "Oh, man, like, why did they have to add that little doo 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 doo?" And the songs are like, "Dude, I didn't even notice that until you said that to me."
Yeah. it's just it's I love music so much, man. And I love leaving surprises for people.
Hey, man, that's the best part about making music. I mean, you do it for yourself first, always. So
Yeah.
I've learned, like, if you ask me, "Oh, Polly, make me a song," I'm like, "Okay, I'll make it for you," and you don't like it, I'm like, "How am I don't read your I can't read your mind," you
Yeah.
know? That's why it's so good to make music for yourself. If you like it, if you vibe with it, then, hopefully people around you or people that you send it to, they like it too. But there's no way
Yeah.
to make music for somebody else because 'cause we're not mind readers.
Yeah. And if anybody and I've done this with people who wanna collab with me, and I'm gonna be putting out an album of collabs that I've done with other house minimal residents, um, early sometime next year. And they're all starting to get their feet wet in production and wanting to produce. And rather than say, okay, let me give you a lesson on Ableton, because anybody can watch YouTube. Nobody wants a freaking lesson. My lessons are always, let's make a song together. I'll start my workflow and my process, and I'll show you how it works and provide opinions. Do you like this sound? Do you not like this sound? Are you hoping for a different thing in the melody? What does the melody sound like to you, right? Like, have that be a collaborative exercise, and we'll record it. So anytime you want to go back and say, okay, how can I make a song? I'll just look back on this Zoom recording or the 10 that that we did in the night because pre only lasts for 40 minutes.
Oh, so well, you have some, music coming out because I know you're in, what was the group that you're in?
My collective is called House Minimal, which is based on the label that I have as well.
Yeah, so I kinda wanted to swing to that label because you were talking about house minimal. I know you have a
Yeah.
label out. I know you just released a couple tracks out, or you actually released, like, 2 EPs or, albums.
Technically one album and one EP, and I got another EP coming out in a week on 11/11.
Yeah, do you wanna kinda talk about, like, your label? Like, why you
Yeah,
started it
absolutely.
and
That'd be
just,
cool, man.
some information about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, if you're starting out in producing, right? You're making music, no major label, no medium-sized label, and probably no super small label is going to give you the time of the day until you've shown either your style, or put a little bit of your own skin in the game, right? Um, Again, it's possible, you go to the John Summit route and send Defected Records thousands of tracks until they bite on one. That's possible too. But as I mentioned before, I've never been one to want to make music for somebody else. And as you just said, right, you want to make music for yourself. So it kind of hit when I submitted a track that I love, Bump Disc, which is off Thump Jazz, my last album. Um, I sent it over to Demura's label, and they got back and said, "This sounds great. It's good. It didn't hit for us, but we want to hear more from you." And that's when I started to realize I can chase a label, even labels of artists that I really respect that are underground and building out their discographies, or I can take yet another chance and put out my music and my friends' music on a label. And so House Minimal got its name by accident. The first live gig I ever played was this past year in May. And I reached out to a bar and I said, "Hey, do you guys have open decks?" They said, "Yeah, here's your night." I said, "Okay, cool. How many other DJs are playing?" They said, "You and whoever else you want to invite." So that's when I
Mm.
turned into not just a DJ, not just a producer, but also a promoter. Um, and I was like, I need to come up with a name for this event as fast as possible because I need to start promoting it. And I just went as simple as I could with two of my favorite electronic genres, house and minimal.
Perfect.
Perfect, perfect match. Because I love classic house and I love Chicago house and I love tech house, even though some people poo poo it. Most of it's generic, but you can find some really good gems, or even classic tech house is great. But I also love minimal just because of how simple it is. People are like, oh, I heard this bass line, or I heard this drum. Okay, fine, but it sounds so good. And it's so simple. It's so good. So I love that intersection. And that's kind of where I see my own sound, and the sound of my label is this clash of analog warmth of these organic Rhodes pianos and jazzy sounds and saxophones and brass with heavy hitting bass and kicks, right? This clean cut low end with this analog warmth that you do not see in minimal tech or in tech house, and these thick rolling bass lines that you don't necessarily see in classic house. So this kind of like
It's like a
mashup of
little
genres.
yeah, it's like a little, multicultural genres. It's LA
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
LA in a house label.
yeah, which is like an appreciation of all of them, right? Like I love, and I keep saying I love those like dusty drums that are like right, but with some nice roads like like. Am I in the Wild West or am I in Berlin? Like I don't
Yeah.
know what is this guy
But
thinking.
does it sound good, right?
Yeah, I sent one of my
Does it
buddies a
fit my
song.
vibe?
I think it's the Doctor is in is off my album Thump Jazz, and I sent it to him, and he's like, "This sounds like I'd hear this in the saloon in Westworld." I was like, "Is that good?" Like, he's like, "No, you kind of got like a player piano thing going on in here with a weird trumpet melody, but it's cool, man. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
no,
no one's making shit
as
like
long as she
this."
thinks it's cool, 'cause it's kinda funny, I just wanna add this, like, remember the track First Call that I sent you? I
Yeah,
posted it, and then one of my friends messaged me like, "Man, I can hear this in," he lives in, Australia. So I can hear this in the club in the back room of an alley. I was like, "Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" A
good
back
thing.
room of an alley club, like, I was like, "What kind of vibe is that?"
Sounds like a house minimal vibe to me.
Yeah, it sounds like I was uh,
So yeah, I guess to go back to the label, I obviously want to put my music out on the label, even though it's mine. I want to be able to provide a forum for my friends to put out their music as well. Um, and I don't know, it just a lot of my music journey has been flying by the seat of my pants and throwing ish at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I've managed to find myself playing with three other resident DJs of House Minimal who are tremendous DJs. Shreddy, Araminta, and Mayo. Gotta plug them. Amazing selectors. And they're kind of a part of the vision, right? They understand it. Again, LA is a saturated market when it comes to events and nightlife and dance music. And we believe that we have found a little bit of a niche of bringing dance music and that underground sound to the West Side because, again, there's great events at Perry's Beach House and it's sweet out there. Don't get me wrong. There's sweet events on rooftops at the Santa Monica proper. Don't get me wrong. But if you want those DJs that are going to play tracks that you don't know and that you've never heard of before, and they might be riskier pieces, you gotta wait till 2 AM and go downtown because that's where that sound is. And it's my favorite sound, but I gotta change diapers, man, at
yeah.
7 AM.
You
I
got
can't
responsibilities,
be
bro.
out till 6 AM. So that's where I'm at now. You know, how can I bring underground sound and dusty beats and risky tracks to people who gotta wake up early, you know?
Mm. Yeah, I talk about oversaturation because I was just talking to my friend last podcast. Just talk about oversaturation where there's so much people consuming, some people doing it. That just means there's more people. Even as
Yeah,
oversaturated, like I know you just started this not too long ago, but there's just more eyes everywhere, especially in LA. I know the competition's fierce out here, but man, if you throw a good party, have good music, like there's more people to come. You just got to find them, got to market
yeah,
it, brand
and
yourself, and all that stuff. So what you're doing
that's
is super awesome. And your
thank
sound,
you.
I know your sound because you send me so much music. I'm like, I know this sound. And to be honest, for me, like that music doesn't. It's good for like the 2 a.m. downtown LA, but man, you could throw like a morning coffee shop rave, and I'll listen to
That's
Minimal House. You know, there's an audience for it. It's saturated, right? So
yeah.
what? Maybe people don't want to stay up to 2 a.m. Like I don't want to go to an afters, man. I'm kind of old. I go to bed around 12. Like if there's
Oh,
an
you
afternoon
gotta go to
coffee
some
shop
afters,
on the
man. We
beach,
gotta get
Santa
you to one.
Monica, I'll go listen to Minimal House for from 10 to 3 or whatever, and be like, oh
That's
man, now
easy.
I can start my day.
And that's kind of like what I try for my sound. And I've been trying to identify my sound, be able to describe it so that like again, thick bass, dusty drums, warm analog instruments, um, able to blend between sunlit bounce and like warehouse groove. Like,
Mhm.
can my music probably leans more towards sunlit bounce, poolside a little bit. Like
Yeah.
my friend always said, jazz. He's like, "Oh, this sounds like jazzy rooftop lounge vibe." And that's where rooftops the EP was born. I was like, I
Mhm.
sent him a bunch of songs. He's like, I could really hear this in a lounge, and I was like, I wanted
You
this to
wanted
be
to
played in the warehouse, but okay, I'll deal with
don't
it.
take it to
So,
offense.
no, I wasn't offended at all, and I was like, fine. I just got to make a song that sounds like it would be played in a warehouse, and that's where the EP came from. You got rooftops, nice, jazzy, feel good, sunshine. And then you got For the Warehouse, dark, groovy, dusty, fast.
Yeah, you gotta make music for, like, any type of, like, vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can't just be sunshine and rainbows, you kinda wanna go dirty, dusty warehouse, 4 AM, sweat dripping on the fucking ceiling, and you get home at 6 AM.
That is exactly it, my man. So yeah, it's just but no, I guess it's an open call too. I mean, you have people that watch this, you have people that watch the podcast. And if people are interested or want to send in a demo or like, man, I don't know. I'm tired of just like getting rejected by labels. Like, hey, there's a chance I won't reject your song, you know?
Yeah. I totally agree with you what you're saying, when you're saying, sending music out instead of the big labels, medium labels, small labels. If you're
Yeah,
starting out, you gotta start small. That's what I'm doing. Yes, I mean, for me, I do wanna get signed to the Insomniac Defected because I
of
do wanna do that
course.
touring DJ. I'll make music. You know me, I make so many different styles of house music, not just dark. But it's you gotta start small, and, I'm glad we're friends, and I'll definitely if you wanna I'll plug in your, submission demo and all that stuff. If people watching this who make like, minimal, like, house, like,
Yeah,
super underground style vibes, you never know.
yeah.
At least Shannon will probably listen to it. Bigger chance of him listening to it than some A&R and some, I don't know.
I will 100% listen to it.
Okay,
Like,
see?
I will 100% listen
He's
to it,
guaranteeing
and I will
100%.
provide feedback. And if I really like it, unlike, again, large labels, I'm happy to hop on a Zoom call and, like, work on it.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not
Yeah.
I again,
That's
my whole and just to swing back to oversaturation, right? There's this perception in saturated markets that if other people are getting theirs, I can't get mine, which I think is such like a selfish and narcissistic way of looking at the music scene. Like just because there's tons of DJs and tons of producers doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It means you have to try and stand out more. If
mhm.
you're complaining about there being too many DJs, maybe you're not that good of a DJ.
Yeah,
Maybe
and maybe
you're
you just don't
worried
wanna put in
about
the work
your
either, you know?
skill set, that you're worried someone who's better is going to steal your thunder. You know, that's fine. Someone should steal your thunder. You should go to that show.
Mm,
You
and
should
plus
hear their
also
music.
and, like, oversaturation, like, there's more people doing it, that just means more opportunities, more friends, more collaborations. It's,
Yeah,
we talk about this a lot where, house music we're trying to build a community, you know? I'm not trying to
yeah,
compete with everybody. What the fuck?
yeah,
I'm gonna lose.
yeah. I'm
So, just
not.
join
There's a
them, create
reason
a
why.
community, like, collab with each other,
Yeah,
help each other, you know? That's what a
yeah,
community is all about.
yeah.
It's not a
And that's what I
competition.
want House Minimal to be, whether it's the collective or the label, right? If you've got music that you want to work on, you want advice. Again, I've only been producing for a year. I'm not amazing, but I'm happy to help share what I know. You know, if you are a DJ and you're struggling to get a gig and you don't want to go to open decks, come to House Minimal, share a mix. More than likely, we'll put you on. Like there's a reason House Minimal isn't downtown. There's a reason why we live on the west side because again, there's that gap of a dance music community that's for dance music and for each other, not just about social media, not just about big name DJs coming up and playing on the beach, which never happened in LA, despite our amazing beachfront property. Like this is like the first year where we're seeing like Cascade come and play on the beach. What? Like
I was there.
that's sick.
Amazing.
Don't get me wrong, that's sick, but
I
I wanted something more us.
Yeah, something for, like, local, like, your own thing, like, you started this, and, everything starts from somewhere. Dirty Bird started as just barbecues in San Francisco. Uh,
Yeah, that's
they
true.
became one of the biggest labels until Claude sold it, but, it's such a respected label, you gotta start somewhere, even with production. we didn't know what the fuck we were doing when we first started. We just
Yeah.
jumped right in. And
Yeah.
look how far we got now, you know? Things take time, but you have to work for it. You
You
gotta
have
put
to
in the
work for it.
time, you gotta put in the hours.
I mean, you know as well as I do, those nights where you're trying to get out a reel or make a reel so that you can post something the next day so that people hear your sound, it's there's that. There's the cold calling and cold emails and outreach to venues that will never respond to you.
Mhm.
There's, hey, check out this song that I made. I'm really proud of it. I don't know how to market it that nobody will listen to. Like there's a lot of rejection, but
Oh,
being
100%.
able to understand that that is par for the course in the music industry, you need to make a name for yourself. And it's a struggle. And it's going to take a long time. I'm under no pretenses that House Minimal will be the next Dirty Bird and that House Minimal events will be the next Blind Tiger. Like it's not what I'm going for, right?
Mhm.
I want things to go at their pace. If it blows up, if it blows up. If it ends in 5 years, if it ends in 1 year, it happened. We learned from it. We had a good time. What's next, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%,
Don't
man.
let fear of rejection, don't let rejection, don't let fear of the unknown stop you from pursuing something that will make you happy, whatever
Oh,
it is.
100%. Like, what did they say? Like, they say you really have to love music to survive. Like,
Yeah,
this is not for the weak.
yeah. And I'm gonna circle back to my boy Bluff. Like he sends me, he produces as much, if not more, than I do. The guy's got a new song every day, but he just doesn't release it. Like Bluff, why? He's like, I don't know. I got bored of it. I got bored of it. I got bored of it. Like,
Mm,
and I even like, bro, let me put your music out on my label. It's like, I have a distributor. I'll use it. Like, it's going to get released at some point, but he just makes his music for himself. The
I
dude
mean,
just
there's
makes
nothing
his
wrong with
music
that.
and loves it.
There's
So,
nothing wrong with that.
out of all the artists that I've named, Demure, Jesus DePunk, Ranger Truco, Djibouti, if there's one other one I got to plug, it's my boy Bluff because he's got a sound, man. He's got a sound.
See, now I really wanna listen to his stuff. If you have anything that you wanna send me later,
I'll send you some stuff from
yeah,
his
we'll talk
SoundCloud.
about that later.
You just give him a follow on Instagram if you don't already. He posts stuff to his story all the time, but again, he's got a normal 9 to 5. He just makes music in his car when he wants, and it's so good. It's so good.
Mm, yeah, definitely send that to me after.
Will
But,
do.
kinda towards getting the end here, I kinda was trying to ask, like, any, thing you wanna plug in, like, I know you just dropped some music. If you wanna plug those in right now?
Yeah, let's do it. So started producing music last year. Put out two, one album. That was my free trial. And then I put out an EP and I put out an album and I went silent for a little bit while I tried to work on my sound. I put out Howler this year as a single that has done very well for me. It's kept my monthly listeners up at a nice level that I'm proud of. I've played it out, people dance to it. I put out a few other songs that are a little bit more experimental that did not land well. And so I said, okay, the next thing that I put out needs to show movement in the right direction. And that's where thump jazz came from. That's where I started to refine my minimal tech low end with a jazzy, feel good middle layer. Um, all the production tricks that I learned throughout building Thump Jazz got manifested in the Rooftops EP that just came out last week. It's a 5-track EP, takes you from a sunlit rooftop all the way to a dusty warehouse at the end.
It's a
I learned a
journey.
lot in producing that album, even more. And so then that becomes Katana. And Katana's coming out 11/11. It's another series. I think it's about 5 or 6 tracks on that. And it's supposed to represent the cut. So here's the lore, right?
Mhm.
Tana, the cut from old Hombre Plata, just getting his bearings, learning his workflow, learning about sound, learning about mixing, playing around and experimenting into what will be my next phase, which is the Arbor phase. I don't have a release date for Arbor yet. It's still a work in progress. I'm trying to have it be a full length album, but it's going to really showcase me taking risks. I'm going to use my own voice in a few tracks. I'm going to use my new synth plugin to actually make some sounds. And I'm really just going to go all out and show people that from Katana, where I set up my sound and set up my strategy, to Arbor, where I've really leaned into who I am as a producer and I'm not afraid to take risks. I'm really excited to share it with you. But Katana's already out on SoundCloud, and it drops on Spotify on 11/11.
That's super awesome, man. I'm excited to listen to everything, and I love that you told your whole story about the journey with your albums coming out. That's what this podcast is all about. Not just here's my song. I hope you like it.
Yeah,
You literally have a story with the song with the music, which is I love that.
it's because we talked about it, right? I know we're nearing time here, but we talked about how we make music for ourselves, and we talked about how you need to find your sound and you need to lean into it. And for the most part, if you share your track with someone who does a track review, they skip it because it sounds like everything else. And up until Katana, I found my production to sound like me, but it's safe. It sounds like minimal tech. It sounds like tech house. It doesn't sound like it's going to stand out to you, like you want to listen to it again. And Arbor's supposed to represent this organic transition of me as an artist to my finding myself, finding my sound, and rejecting this idea that I need to blow up, that I need to be famous, that my tracks need to get signed by major labels. And I just need to be happy making music, full stop. And that's where the journey's headed.
Okay, no, that's awesome because in the end, you got to do it for yourself. I do got to do what makes you happy. And one thing I would hate to be is stuck in a box where I have to make this sound, I have to make this style of music because this label told me to. Otherwise, they're not
Yeah.
gonna sign me. Like that's like one big thing. I hope nowhere in my career I'm stuck in a box. But
Yeah.
I love where you're going with this, man.
Thank you.
You seriously have an idea and a vision, and your tunnel vision within that vision.
Oh,
And you
it's
should get stuck.
dangerous,
You should
man. That
stay
is at
there
all
because
costs, man. At all costs.
because I feel like it makes you super happy, and this is what you want to do. Not someone. No one told you you got to do it like this or do it like that. You're like, this is my vision. I'm gonna stick with it. I fucking love doing it. Like nothing's gonna stop me.
Yeah. I remember someone listening to my one of my songs like, "Why do you always have this like tom drum that just like comes in on a weird hit?" I'm like, "Oh, you don't like it? I don't care." Cuz it's fun for me. I love hearing the four on the floor kick, 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 kick tom. I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's Hombre Plata. That's a Plata track."
Hey, that's where we're finding our signature sound, right?
Hell yeah. It's not just all
Okay.
farts with reverb, man.
Exactly. As long as you don't put like reverb on the master, I think you're fine.
Wait, you don't do that?
Nice. Alright. Okay, man. I guess we're coming to the end. The last question I always ask all my guests is, just the last piece of advice you want to give out to anyone who's watching this.
If you find yourself on a dance floor looking at the DJ saying, "This is easy. I can do this." It is. It's easy. You can do it. Start a free trial of Ableton or whatever DAW you want to use and just dive in.
No, that's it?
That's the tweet.
Hey, that's great info because everyone I talk to, they say, "Oh, how do you get started in music?" You just fucking do it.
Just fucking do
Just
it,
fucking
man.
do it.
Just do it.
Like you said,
Just do
download
it.
your free Ableton, I mean, Logic, whatever fucking DAW you wanna use. There's 30 days free trials. Dive right into it. Watch some YouTube. Ask your friends who do produce music, and just go on the journey, man. It's a long
Yeah.
journey.
And if
It's
you've watched this
tough.
episode and you want to start and you don't know where to start, hit me up.
Yeah,
Hit
I
me up
mean,
on
I'll
Instagram.
put all your links in the
Let's
description. So,
We'll do a Zoom chat. We'll make a song together. We'll release it on House Minimal. I'm not joking. Like,
nah, he's not joking. I know he's
I'm not
100%
joking.
serious. Trust me.
If you're worried about your song getting out there, like, oh, I don't know if I want to release it. No, it's going out whether you like it or not. Your name's going to be on it. Unless you don't want your name on it, and I'll take credit when we're playing it, at EDC on the main stage.
Yeah, well, hey, Hombre Plata, I appreciate you being on the pod. This was a great conversation. I'm glad we got to connect and just, share your story and talk about music. I really appreciate you being on, man.
Thanks, Polly. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me. I
All right,
appreciate it. And
cool.
I'm looking forward to collabing in the future.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. See you later.
Later.